Welcome agents, I don't know where to start in this video. Today, Title Update 3.0 was released, and with that came a lot of changes, but also Ubisoft have released a new raid trailer along with an infographic for the world's first and their rewards tied to this. For season pass holders, we got the 2 new classified assignments, which has its own trophy as a reward, and there's a lot more here. Now today I want to go over all of this stuff, including the changes to talents, among other things. So if you guys like this video, please do let me know down below and subscribe for dedicated Division content. With that said, we're going to get straight into this one. It's going to be a long one, guys, so strap in. Okay, so to start off with, let's talk about the new 8-player raid, Operation Dark Hours. Now first up, the devs released an article on the official Division website which gives you a lot of lore surrounding the raid. It reads as follows. Despite Sarah's best efforts to contain the outbreak at the Washington National Airport, the situation quickly became untenable, resulting in the airport being coated in DC 62 and subsequently abandoned. When the Black Tusk arrived in DC, they set up shop in the new derelict airport, and it's up to you and 7 friends to flush them out, and you'll be challenged on not only your skill, but also on your ability to analyse, adapt, and cooperate. The article goes on to talk about how ambitious and powerful the Black Tusk are. They confirm that the Black Tusk are prepared for this, meaning there will be unique bosses, exotic mechanics and technology, none of which we have faced before in the Division 2. I have to admit, I was pretty hyped reading through this article, and I'm pretty hyped making this video. Now the raid will be released on Thursday at 6 PM CEST or 5 PM UK time, and you will need to speak to the helicopter pilot at the base of operations, which opens a new raid tab, allowing everyone to start building their raid groups. Moving on to the rewards. Now the article confirms there will be exclusive loot to the various bosses, like new gear sets, an exotic weapon, and vanity items. Now here's an image of the new exotic assault rifle you can see during the raid trailer. Now I don't know my guns too well, so if you guys know what this is, you'll have to let me know in the comments down below. But the skin looks really cool, and I'm excited to have an exotic assault rifle. Now there will be new commendations with the raid, each rewarding a unique arm patch. There will also be exclusive rewards for the world's first, and for players who beat the raid in the first week. Now on screen you will see a pretty cool infographic displaying everything. For the team that gets world first, all 8 players will get their usernames featured on a special painting that will be placed on one of the White House walls near the clan room. Now this will be visible to all players, not just players who have beaten the raid. And as you can see with this infographic as well, if you watch the raid on Twitch, you can earn extra rewards too. For all players who complete the raid within the first week after its release this Thursday, you'll receive a special commendation and an exclusive arm patch, the first strike patch, Operation Dark Hours. Now for players who complete the raid with fellow clan members, there's a special clan insignia and trophy for your clan space. If you want to check out the full terms and conditions for the world's first, I'll leave a link down below. The article goes on to confirm the requirements for the raid. You will need to be level 30, World Tier 5 with a minimum gear score of 490. Now you do not need a full party of 8 to begin the raid, but the overall difficulty will not scale according to how many players are present. Dark Hours is always scaled for 8 players. And lastly, for the raid details, the reset timer. The raid is protected by a weekly timer. As a result, boss loot will only drop once a week. You can still participate in the raid after that, but these bosses will not drop additional loot until the timer resets the week after. Okay, so that's it for the raid news, and I will leave a link down below for the raid trailer. I highly recommend you go check it out, it's really cool. And next up, and I've previously covered the majority of the patch notes, so today I want to go over the talent changes and all the patch notes that hadn't previously been available until today. And I want to go over the talent changes first, so strap in. So there's quite a lot here. So gear talents, we got Berserk. Increase required max armor depleted from 10% to 20%, now requires 7 offensive attributes. Blacksmith, increased armor repair from 25% to 50%, can now occur every 15 seconds, used to be 10 seconds, and now requires 7 defensive attributes. Bloodlust, for PvE, increased granted weapon damage from 25% to 35%, decreased duration from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. For PvP, decreased granted weapon damage from 25% to 20%, decreased duration from 10 seconds to 5 seconds, now requires 9 offensive attributes. Bloodsucker, for PvE, depleting an enemy's armor adds a stack of plus 25% bonus armor for 10 seconds, max stack is 6, was 20%, 20 seconds, 5. PvP, depleting an enemy's armor adds a stack of 20% bonus armor for 5 seconds, max stack is 5, now requires 11 offensive attributes and an assault rifle, SMG or LMG equipped. Critical, reduce critical hit damage from 8% to 5%. Clutch, increased health gained per critical hit from 15% to 20%, reduced armor gained per critical hit from 2% to 1%, now requires 4 or less defensive attributes. Entrench, increased armor repair for headshots from cover from 5% to 10%. Hard hitting, reduced damage to elites from 15% to 10%. That's a change I never expected to see. Kneecap, increased chance to apply bleed when shooting an enemy in the legs from 10% to 15%. Patience. After being in cover for 5 seconds, armor repairs by 5% every 1 second. Now requires 6 defensive attributes. Safeguard. Reduced duration from 20 to 5 seconds, can only occur once every 20 seconds. This was already the case, but has now been reflected in the tooltip. Now requires 4 or less offensive attributes. Spotter. Increased weapon damage to pulsed enemies from 10% to 20%. Now requires 5 utility attributes. Surgical. Reduced critical hit chance from 8% to 5%. Unbreakable. PvE. Increased amount of max armor repaired when armor is depleted from 25% to 70%. Increased time frame for armor kits not being consumed when effect triggers from 5 seconds to 7 seconds. PvP. Increased max armor repaired when armor is depleted from 15% to 25%. Increased time frame for armor kits not being consumed when effect triggers from 5% to 5 seconds to 7 seconds. Now requires 11 defensive attributes and no other talents affecting armor kits. Unstoppable Force, PvE. Killing an enemy now grants 2% weapon damage for every 25% or 25,000 max armor. PvP. Killing an enemy now grants 1% weapon damage for every 25,000 max armor. Now requires 7 or more defensive attributes. And as the developer comment on this, due to the increase in available armor on gear made, we decided to also increase the max armor requirements for Unstoppable Force. Okay, so that was the gear talents. Let's go on to weapon talents. We got Frenzy for PvE. For every 10 bullets in the magazine capacity, gain plus 2% rate of fire and plus 2% weapon damage for 5 seconds when reloading from empty. From PvP, every 10 bullets in a magazine capacity, gain plus 1.5% rate of fire and plus 1.5% weapon damage for 5 seconds when reloading from empty. Killer now grants 30% critical damage for 5 seconds instead of 50% critical hit chance. Developer comment, we think critical damage feels more appropriate as you already need a relatively high critical hit chance to activate the talent regularly. Makes sense. Measured now grants 20% rate of fire, minus 15% weapon damage in the top half of the magazine. Now grants minus 20% rate of fire and plus 30% weapon damage in the bottom half of the magazine. Developer comment, measured should now be a net damage bonus and the increased rate of fire should better support other talents and effects activated. Preservation for PvE. Killing an enemy repairs 10% armor over 5 seconds. Headshots improves the repair to 20%. For PvP, killing an enemy repairs 5% armor over 3 seconds. Headshots improves the repair to 15%. Now requires 7 defensive attributes. Reformation. Increased headshot kill, skill, repair and healing to 50% from 25%. Reduced duration from 25 seconds to 20 seconds. Now requires 9 utility attributes. Spike. Increased skill damage from 25% to 35%. Increased duration from 10 seconds to 20 seconds. Now requires 5 utility attributes. Strained. Increased miss and armor requirement from 5% to 10%. Unhinged, reduced damage bonus from 25% to 20%, reduced handling negative from 35% to 25%. So there we go for the talent changes, weapon talent changes and gear changes. And I just want to move on here because that was really long, I apologise for that. So a new feature has actually come part of the patch, and these are exotic mod bonuses. And I want to go over these because they're actually really interesting and pretty powerful. So for weapons, we got the SOCOM MK20 SSR, now has a skin slot from specialized quality and up. So let's look at the Nemesis mod slots. We got the Optic, which is a plus 35% headshot damage, the magazine plus 10% reload speed, muzzle plus 15% critical hit damage, and rail plus 15% damage to elites. Chatterbox, Optic plus 5% critical hit chance, magazine plus 10% reload speed, muzzle plus 10% critical hit chance, and the rail we got plus 15% handling. Sweet Dreams and Lullaby, we got the Optic, which is plus 15% accuracy, magazine, which is plus 15% reload speed, and rail, plus 25% optimal range. Merciless, we got the Optics, which is plus 10% accuracy, magazine, plus 15% reload speed, muzzle, plus 20% stability, and the rail, plus 20% handling. Pestilence, magazine, plus 10% rate of fire, that's pretty good. Muzzle, plus 20% stability, and rail, plus 15% handling. Liberty, the Optic is plus 10% critical hit chance, magazine plus 15% damage to elites, the muzzle plus 15% stability, and lastly the rail plus 15% rate of fire. Next up on the patch notes is the commendations, which I briefly want to go over here. So they've added new commendations for Operation Dark Hours, and they've removed the following commendations. So 28 days distinction, record 672 hours, 28 days of time in game, been removed. Distinguished service ribbon, for 30 consecutive days on each day, play for at least 1 hour and complete 1 mission. mission. Supreme Response Distinction, for 7 consecutive days. On each day, complete 4 main missions and rescue 5 civilians. Year 1 merit, play on 14 days per month on a total of 12 months. And the Division Service merit, for a total of 100 days. On each day, play for at least 1 hour and deliver 20 resources to control points. So these have all been removed. The developer comment is, we removed these accommodations as we felt they were not delivering a great experience for players. Oftentimes you could miss out on your daily login or lose your streak with no error of your own. We're adding different accommodations that will still let you show off your dedication towards the game without the login requirements. For those players that have already earned the above mentioned accommodations, they will remain visible as completed. They've also added a new vanity patch reward for all players as compensation for any lost time due to the above changes. Now the new accommodations, there are 5 of them. So we've got the Full Deck Distinction, and that's acquire all these snitch cards. The Distinguished Service Distinction, complete 30 hours of service. The Supreme Response Distinction, complete all main missions and strongholds on hard difficulty or above. Control Point Takeover Merit, take over 50 heroic control points, that's pretty extensive. And Invasion Service Merit, complete 10 invaded strongholds. They've also changed the Peacock Award to specifically use the Jumping Jacks emote, and they've changed the Mission Discovery Merit accommodations to track when a player collects loot from loot boxes, not opening the loot boxes. This will ensure that all players that are in a group can earn this combination when playing the respective missions. Last but not least is the new Hot Dog Trophy for completing one of the classified assignments. Now, I've not played through this myself yet, and this comes courtesy of Reddit, so all credit there, and that's it, everyone. Sorry for this being such a long video, and to be honest, I've missed things out here as part of the patch, but I'll go over them in another video. I didn't want to make this a 25-minute video. Now, if you have stuck around to the end, you are a real trooper, and I really do appreciate all of your support. And of course, until the next one, guys, epic out.